Hi, everybody. It's Eric Potts. And first of all, I want to say before I go any further with this video that there will probably be some edits in this video because I tend to ramble. And this is not a message that I want to be 15 minutes long. So I will probably go back and edit some spots, just so you know. If you see an edit, that's why. I'm going to talk a little bit about a subject that's a little touchy, a little personal, a lot personal. And some people may turn it off and go, I don't want to hear it. Some people may look at me in a totally different light, like that guy's a weak individual or he's crazy. But that's not the case. That's not how we should view this. It's important. It's an important message to get out there, not only to the law enforcement community, but to everybody. Because while I'm going to talk specifically about law enforcement, it really applies to anybody that might be going through some issues. I'm going to talk to you guys about law enforcement suicide prevention, which is something that I've been passionate about for at least 17 years now, because it was a personal incident that happened to me. But I showed emotion, and I got a video that went viral. And I got people coming over here. And it's a fleeting moment, and maybe it's my chance, and maybe this is why it happened, to get this message out. Because it's important for me personally to get this message out. So I looked at it and said, that's what I need to do. And if it loses people going away from here, if it loses police officers who think the same, to have that attach that stigma to somebody who's asking for help or displays this sort of emotion as weak, and if I lose them, I'm sorry. I hope you guys don't go away, but it's important that you guys understand that this is an issue within our ranks. But it's an issue within the ranks of humanity. It's personal for me because in 1997, I sat in this very room on numerous occasions with a gun to my head, my finger on the trigger. I was in the deepest, darkest abyss. I was in a hole that I could not see any light. I could not get out of it. It was a combination of things that had happened to me in my past, things that I was going through at the moment, and some post-traumatic stress disorder. And I was not dealing with it at all. I was shut down emotionally. I was bottled up inside. There was no light coming in. There was nothing but pain, internal pain. I could not see my way out. The only way I could see to get out was to end my life. But there was some spark of compassion apparently left in me because I didn't want to pull the trigger in there and have my kids find me. I didn't want them to find their father in that condition, so I had other plans in place. I had other ideas of how to end my life, and I won't go into detail about those. But I was at work and I had it. It was done. It was over. I was finished. I was ready to do it. And I said something. It wasn't an admission that I was thinking about that, but it was a little something. And the way I said it, I just said, I'm done. I've had it. I want to end this. And that's all I said. Somebody picked up on it. Somebody listened, picked up on it, brought it to the administration, and the ball was rolling in the right direction. I was, obviously forced into counseling. I wasn't going to go on my own. I was forced into counseling. I spent a year in counseling. I spent a year on antidepressant medication. After that year, I emerged from a cocoon. I mean, obviously over that year, I got better and better, but I realized that it's not something that was specific to me. It wasn't something that I was only going through. It was humanity goes through it, but I'm talking specifically about law enforcement. Police officers were killing themselves left and right. Police officers are 2 to 3 times more likely to end their lives than have their lives ended by somebody else. That's a staggering number when you think about it. When I post up every day of police officers being killed in the line of duty, every day I post something up just about. To think that 2 to 3 times more police officers are killing themselves, as opposed to being killed by somebody else is a staggering number. It's a staggering number. It's amazing to me. And it was happening all around me. It was happening when I was in the middle of this. There was an officer in a town nearby me who killed himself in the parking lot of his headquarters. And as I was emerging from this deep, dark hole, this abyss that I was in, I realized that, you know what, this message needs to get out there. There needs to be some sort of training. There needs to be some sort of information that's getting out there. And so I started researching. I started looking things up. And guess what? It was out there. But nobody was using. Nobody was taking advantage of it. It was out there. I went to the chief of police. We had a long conversation. We got a chaplain that came into our headquarters. And it not necessarily doesn't mean anything about religion. Doesn't have to be about religion. It has to be an outlet where you can speak, where you can talk. And that's what the chaplain provided us. And then we look at other avenues. I became a train the trainer. I trained other people in law enforcement suicide prevention, in recognizing the signs. So there's things that what I went through them for a reason. And that's why I say maybe this viral video that I put out, it went out for a reason. This might be it. I don't know. But I know that it's an important message for me to get out to you. If you're somebody who loves somebody in law enforcement, if you're in law enforcement, or even if you're just somebody who knows somebody or going through some depression and thoughts of ending your life, understand that it's not the end. It's not the end. You don't need. All I tell you is to hold on for one more second. Just hold on for one more second. And then when that second goes by, hold on for one more second. And talk. Talk. Because that's the best thing you can do. When you talk about these issues, when you talk about these feelings, you'll feel the weight of the world come off you. You really do. You got to deal with it. It's not going to be easy. There's no easy way out of this. You know, and I know that when I was through it, I didn't want to hear a lot of the things, the cliches that, you know, suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. I didn't want to hear those things, and I understand that. But it's true. It is a permanent solution to a temporary problem because you can get beyond these issues. Whatever it is that you're going through, you can get past. You can get past it. And so you should hold on for that one more second and talk to somebody. It's important. If you're somebody who knows somebody in law enforcement or works with somebody in law enforcement, if you're a police officer and you see certain things, you need to take action. Some of the signs of somebody who's depressed and maybe suicidal are obviously changes in their behavior, changes in the way they do things at work, more citizens' complaints coming in, officers acting overzealous, aggressive, perhaps even violent. More sick time, somebody calling out quite a bit. More incidents of injury on the job or workers' comp claims by an individual. And certain things they say. People who are depressed say certain things, obviously. This sucks. Life sucks. I don't even know why I'm here. Why am I going on with this? You know, I'd be better off if I wasn't here. They'd be better off if I wasn't here. You know what? The world would be better if I wasn't here. These are some of the things. And some people outright say, I'm going to kill myself. These are things that somebody who's in the deepest, darkest throes of depression or thinking about suicide may say or may do or how they may act. You know, people self-medicate. You may see an increase in alcohol consumption or even drug abuse. Be cognizant and aware of these things. And if you are seeing these behaviors in somebody, the actions that you should take are very simple. If you are somebody who's close to them, talk to them. Reach a hand out. Are you okay? Is everything all right? Ask them flat out. Are you thinking about harming yourself or killing yourself? And now I know people say, wasn't that putting the idea in their head to kill himself? No, it's not. It never will be. These people, anybody who's in this depression has already considered it. They're already thinking about it. And by you asking, are you thinking about harming yourself or killing yourself? This may open up the door for somebody to go, yes. And then the conversation flows, and then it can help. It can change the world for somebody. So understand that if that's happening, you should take those actions. But also understand if you are somebody who's in that depression, in that moment, that you need to reach out to somebody. You need to talk to somebody. Counseling does wonders. It sounds horrible, but here's the issue we have within the police community. There is still a stigma attached to somebody asking for help. There always will be, I think, unless we start getting education out there. We get this message out there. There is no reason that you need to be considered weak if you ask for help or you show emotion. We understand as police officers that we go to a scene, we have to be detached, we have to be unemotional. We have to go to a scene and be in control. And a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people think, well, what are you talking about? Police officers got to be in control. These guys are jerks. These guys are idiots. They're mean-spirited. They're not friendly. That's not true. That's not true. We're humans. But we have a job to do, and the job that requires us to go to a scene and be in control. While all of hell is breaking loose and everything's chaotic, somebody has to be in control. Somebody has to run towards that and be in control. That's the guys at Ground Zero and the chaos that they went through. They had to keep themselves under wraps and in control. I was there, I know. So I'm telling you, that when when you see a police officer, they're not uncaring, unfeeling people, but they have to detach. That's their job. You go to a traumatic scene, you see dead bodies, you see dead children. Your mind's screaming. You're screaming. You want to break down and be emotional, but you can't. You can't. You have to be in control. So what happens is these officers detach and they never learn to reattach. They never learn to reattach. They go back to headquarters and they make jokes because that's how you deal with it. You deal with it through humor, trying to diffuse the situation, but you never reattach. And on top of that, you're dealing with external issues. You're dealing with things that everybody else is dealing with. You're dealing with marital problems. You're dealing with financial problems. You're dealing with problems with friends and stuff, and you can't deal with it because police officers are trained to deal with everybody's issues, but they're not trained to deal with their own. Because remember, as I said, police officers are supposed to be in control, and if you don't have control over certain things, if you don't have control of those things in your life, people tend to look at you as weak in the police community, and it's a bad, bad, bad way for us to conduct ourselves and to think of ourselves, because it's not weak when you ask for help. It's not weak. Administrations need to put things in place to get these officers the help they need. And I'm going very long, and I'm sorry. But administration needs to put critical incident stress management in place. Mandatory policy. You go to a traumatic scene, a prolonged life-saving attempt, or anything that's of significance, that there is mandatory critical incident stress management. That's a team that comes in, people sit, and they debrief, and people talk. Make it mandatory. You don't have to talk. You have to go, and you have to listen, because maybe somebody says something, they talk about a feeling that you're feeling. And now you know that you're not alone. You can talk about it, and this is how you reattach. There has to be programs in place, confidential programs, where officers know that they can freely go to a counselor and not worry about any repercussions from administration, that it's not going to affect their chances of promotion, that it's not going to affect their job, that they go to these places and they can speak freely about the issues that they're having, and they don't have to worry about it being reported back to the police headquarters. The only thing that may happen is these places probably have to keep tabs. Somebody came and we talked to them, but it's not disclosed who, what, when, where, how, or why. It's important that these things are in place. I'm telling you that's the truth because I know I utilize those. More times after my incident in 1997, I absolutely utilized those outlets. I became a critical incident stress management team member. I was on those teams. I went in and debriefed. So there are certainly things that can be put in place by the administration to help the individuals. And I'm not blaming anybody. I'm saying that these things need to be in place. Now, I know training has happened. Before I left, 2 years before I left, it was starting to be talked about in New Jersey, and it was becoming mandatory in police academies, and I thank God for that. And I hope that it's happening all over the country, and I hope that it's changing. I hope that it is, but I want to get the message out to anybody who doesn't have access to that, to understand that if you're going through this right now, you're not alone. You're not the only person that feels it. You're not, and you can come back from it. You can come back and be the person you used to be. You just got to reach out to somebody. Talk to somebody and get the help that you need. I don't want to make this any longer. You certainly can reach out to me anytime that you want. Obviously, you know where to find me. But even if you don't reach out to me, reach out to somebody. Talk to your spouse, talk to your friend, talk to your neighbor, talk to your administration, go to the hospital, anything. Hold on for that one more second and talk to somebody. And if you're somebody who loves somebody and you see these behaviors, take action. If you don't feel comfortable enough to ask that, find somebody who will. Because it can make the world of a difference in somebody's life. God bless everybody.